that when you receive what it is that you are believing God for, you're ready for it. You're not going to push it away. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kimberly Louise. If you're new, if you're returning, welcome back, girl. I'm so glad that you're here. Today is another video in our love series for the month of February. If that's something that you're interested in, girl, then just keep on watching. Everything that I'm gonna say today is based on the Word of God. I have my Bible right here, and I hope that you guys will go ahead and just grab your Bibles, grab your journals, grab your pens, grab your note app on your phone, and let's get into it. So in 1 Corinthians 13:4, it says, love is patient. Now, when I look up the word patient, I'm gonna put it up on the screen. It means being able to accept or tolerate delays, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. I don't think I had ever looked up that word, y'all. Patience is not something that I would pray for, because I felt like, man, if I pray for patience, then he gonna make me be patient. Precisely. He gonna make you be patient, sis. But we need it. And so I also looked up the word patient. So the first word I looked up was patient. This one is patience. It says means forbearance or restraint in a situation that would otherwise warrant action. Now, patience is also listed as a fruit of the Spirit. So this tells me that if I am going to love well, whether that's in a romantic relationship or any other relationship, I have to work on my patience. It's a reminder of how patient God is with us. Because if he wasn't patient with us, y'all read the Israelites, he was about to kill them. If y'all just read your Old Testament, okay? God was ready to end it all, okay? But he had patience with us, you know, and I just feel like if he has patience with us, we need to have patience with others. A lot of times when we think about patience, we only think about it as a negative thing, right? Like we think about, oh, I gotta wait. Why I gotta wait? I'm always having to wait. I kid you not. So if you watched last week's video where me and my husband share how God wrote our love story, if you have not checked out that video, please go check it out. It's a long one, but it's a good one, I promise y'all. Like, God was all up and through our relationship. But one of the things that I shared with you all in there was that from the time I had the dream about my husband to the time I met my husband, it was about 5 years. Okay, so to some that might not be that long, but to me, I was like, hey God, I'm ready. Like, you see, I'm ready. But during that time, God was doing things in me. Like he was pruning things out of me, right? That I thought I was good with. I was done with that. I don't do that no more. Like he was pruning a lot of things out of me. And so I had to learn to be patient, because you know how like if you put something in the crock pot and it cooks like all day, you know, when you eat it, it's about to hit, because it's gonna be tender, the meat gonna be so juicy, all of that. That's what patience is like. Patience is like that. Like patience is like putting yourself in a crock pot, not worrying about it, just putting yourself in a crock pot while you get tendered up, essentially while you get pruned and refined by the Lord, so that when it is time for the thing that he has promised you, you're tender and ready. Okay, you're tender and ready. All right. I hope that made sense. But it's easier said than done to be patient, y'all. We all know that. Like I think about Abraham, who was told that he would be the father of many nations, y'all. He was told this like years ago. And then when he was almost 100 years old, that's when God is like, okay, yeah, now I'm gonna bless you with a son from you. Like you and Sarah are gonna have a son, and then that way you'll produce many nations. But mind you, he 100 years old. So between this time, he's probably thinking, okay, you say I'm gonna be the father of many nations, right? So you told me this. For instance, for me, you told me that this man is my husband. You gave me his name, all of this. So where he at? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where is he? Like, where Abraham, where is my son, right? And it says in Hebrews 6:13-15, it says, for when God made a promise to Abraham, since he had no one greater by whom to swear, he swore by himself. Y'all, God swore by himself, saying, surely I will bless you and multiply you. And thus Abraham, having waited patiently, obtained the promise. That word patient is there again, right? Having waited patiently, he obtained the promise. And so when we go back to the definition of patience, right? We remember what it says. It says being able to accept or tolerate delays, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. Y'all, I be annoyed. Like, if I don't have my food right now, like, where's the food? Like, I don't understand why we don't have food. Like, God was pruning that stuff out of me because I noticed that I would do that. I would be really irritated if I was hungry. And a lot of people say, oh, she's just hangry. Oh, girl, ha, ha, ha. That's not funny because you're not operating in the fruits of the Spirit, sis. That was me. That was me. And I could see my husband, well, boyfriend at the time being like, wow, like she really get an attitude when she hungry. Like, that's not a good look. And so I think for me, it's still an area that I work in, but now when I'm hungry, I'm just quiet. Like, I won't say anything good or bad. I won't have any kind of look on my face. I'm just mostly quiet because I'm like, okay, food is gonna come. There are people who are actually starving, Kim. You not dying, you will survive. Like, you know what I mean? You know how we be when we be hungry, like it's the end of the world. It's not. Being reminded that Abraham still obtained the promise, and that's why we here. Like, he remained patient and he trusted God, even when his wife did not. His wife was like, okay, sure, I'm gonna have a baby at 95, however old she was. Like, sure, okay. Like, it's so crazy because we really do put God in a box as if he can't do the miraculous. Okay? Just because of your age or whatever you deem as a problem to what you believe God has promised you, he don't even care about that. He knows what he has planned for you, and he's gonna make sure that he prunes everything out and that he gets you in a place where you need to be so that when you receive what it is that you are believing God for, you're ready for it. You're not gonna push it away. You're not gonna, so if you're waiting on a man, right? You're not gonna, if you've been waiting on God to send this man and God has been working on you and been working on your heart, like, you're not gonna push him away because you know how to respond. You know how to speak to people. You know you need to be patient in things because in marriage, you gotta learn to be patient. Things aren't gonna just happen like this. Like, it's not a fairy tale. I said that in my singles video that I did. Like, it's not a fairy tale. It's not all, oh, it's all beautiful and sweet and kind. Some days, it is gonna be, but most days it's not. So I'm gonna ask you 3 questions throughout this video. The first one is about to be, how patient have you been while waiting on what you believe God has promised you? So, like I told y'all, when I was single, she was not patient, okay? I would portray it as patience, right? But I knew I wasn't patient because I started trying to take stuff in my own hands. I was like, oh, well, I know this guy like me. So I'ma just ask him, I'ma go after him. Girl, why? He didn't, listen, if a man does not approach you or pursue you or have an interest in you, if a man has an interest in you, he gon' show you that. You're not gonna have to, oh, let me put myself out there. Let me just like walk by him a few times. Girl, it's not gonna help. Like, you want the man God wants for you. You want the man who wants you. Okay? So you don't want to be chasing after no man. No, you want the man that wants you, okay? And so there was this older lady, I'll never forget this, when I was single. And a lot of people would be like, oh my gosh, Kim, like, you're such a good woman. Why are you single? And you know how people ask you why you single? Sis, I don't know. Like, it's one of them questions that why would you ask me that? But anyway, people were asking me that around the time, and I was sitting around with some older ladies. Mind you, get around some older, wiser women, okay? That are married, if you want to be married. Get around some older, wiser women who can impart wisdom onto you and pour into you. This lady said, Kim, be patient. She said, if I would have known that my husband was the man that he is, I would have just waited on him. I wouldn't have been dating nobody else. I wouldn't have been wasting time with these other jokers. Like, nah, like, I would have just waited on him. I would have trusted God for him, and then it just would have been beautiful, or even more beautiful. Like, I'm so glad that he's the man that God chose for me. And I feel that now that I am married to the man of my prayers, y'all. Like, it is worth the wait. I know you hear people say that, like, oh, girl, it's worth the wait. It really is. It's worth the wait. God is so faithful. God is so faithful. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, wow, like we are growing closer and closer to God and each other, and God is just moving through our relationship. And it's because I think it's because we put him first. You got to put him first in your relationship. You can't expect God to be at the center or God to move in your relationship when you put him last. Put him first, y'all. Okay? All right, so let's go back to 1 Corinthians 13. We're going to move on to the second thing that it says. It says love is kind. So the first one was obviously love is patient. The second one is love is kind. A kind person is someone who is generous, helpful, and always thinks about someone else's feelings. So this person is not somebody that's just like thinking about themselves and how can this benefit me and what can I gain from this? No, this person is someone who's generous, helpful, and is always thinking about someone else. In Proverbs 31:26, it says, she opens her mouth with wisdom and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. So the character traits that are mentioned in Proverbs 31 are things that I think as women, we all strive to be like, right? Like there are some things in there that we're like, yes, I want to be this type of woman, okay? And so if it says that she is teaching kindness, she must know something about it, right? Like she must know something about being kind and treating others well. We already know she opens her hands to the poor. That was in verse 20 in Proverbs 31. And the needy. She opens her hands to the poor and the needy. So she was a giver. In marriage, you're going to need to give. It's not all about you, sis. It's not the Kim show. Like, it's not the Kim show. Like, yes, we are blessed, but I would say my husband and I spoil each other. You want to be in a relationship that's a giving relationship on both ends. Him giving to you, you giving to him, you guys pouring into each other. That is beautiful. That is love. That is a kind, patient relationship, okay? So this tells me that I need to be kind in my everyday dealings. This is not just romantic. This is in general. So if you're in line at the drive-thru and the lady is rude to you, you still respond to her in kindness because that's the woman that you are, right? You're that woman. Regardless of how people respond to you, you respond to them with kindness, with joy. Maybe they're having the most horrible day, right? And you somehow brighten up their day just with how you responded to them, right? Like you never know how you can affect other people just by your kind, gentle spirit, okay? So ask yourself, question number 2, are you kind? Like really ask yourself, are you? All right, let's move on. Okay, so the last thing it says is love rejoices with the truth. And that's in 1 Corinthians 13:6, I believe. Rejoices with the truth. I know people who only want to hear what they want to hear. Like they only want yes men around them, right? People who gonna agree with them. They don't want nobody that's gonna go against what they think. This is unhealthy because you're gonna go through life with spinach in your teeth. And because people are afraid to tell you the truth, you're not gonna know until you get home and you'll be like, man, why nobody didn't tell me? Because you don't want to hear the truth, sis. Listen to wisdom. Get wisdom. Listen to the truth. It is necessary for your growth. One of the things I love about my husband is that he gonna always be honest with me. He gonna be kind with his honesty. And I think sometimes the truth can hurt when it's the truth. But when you know you needed to hear that, like, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Like, I don't want to walk around with spinach in my teeth, y'all. Like, I don't want to walk around with toilet paper on my shoe. Like, I don't want to stain on the back of my pants and I didn't know. Like, there are things that we have to be open to in order to love well. This says love rejoices with the truth, which means we need to rejoice when people share the truth with us. It says in John 8:31-32, if you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples and you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. The truth being Jesus. Jesus is the only person that can set us free, right? And I think just this knowing the truth about a thing, knowing the truth about yourself, right? Knowing who you are, it will help you a lot in your future relationships, romantic or otherwise. So my last question for you, sis, is, do you rejoice with the truth? Does the truth encourage you? Sit with that and remember that God is God and we are not. So we trust him and we let him do his thing. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.